Hey friends, what's up? Philip here with Points of Phillip, and I'm actually here because, well, American Express has a lot of news going on. There's some points devaluations that I really want to talk about, but there's also some offer news and some just general American Express news that, well, I want to talk about. So we're going to get into that, but before we do, I'd like to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know what, well, works for you guys. And it helps, and by doing that, it helps more people actually watch this content. So I appreciate that. If you would also like to support the channel a little bit further, memberships are available. The base tier gives you access to all members-only videos. I drop once a week. And then we also have a middle tier, which gives you early access to all my videos that I post. And then the higher level tier gives you special direct access to be able to ask me questions about, credit card advice, things like that. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, let's get into this video. So we're going to talk about American Express and, well, some significant devaluations. So first of all, the breaking news is that American Express, not American Airlines, announced a points devaluation of sorts. Basically, there's been kind of a bunch of weird going back and forth with Emirates as a transfer partner for American Express. And so as of September 16th of this year, that transfer ratio will now, instead of going from the previous 1-to-1 transfer ratio, go from 5 to 4, which means that your American Express points, if you're planning on redeeming them for Emirates flights or Emirates partners, is, well, less valuable than it was, say, last month. So that's kind of an interesting idea. Now, the only other transfer partner that American Express has that's an airline that doesn't have a 1-to-1 transfer ratio is JetBlue, and that's going to be 250 to 200, which is not terrible, but other issuers like Chase and Citi have JetBlue at 1-to-1. If you have any Capital One miles, definitely don't recommend transferring to JetBlue. That transfer ratio is abysmal. Now, it's also important to note that Citi already announced a transfer devaluation with Emirates as well. So Citi's is actually going to take effect shortly later this month at July 27th. It's going to go down as well. So currently, the only banks that have transferable currencies and have Emirates transfer partner at a 1-to-1 ratio are going to be Capital One and Chase. So if you're a Capital One person or a Chase person, this news probably doesn't affect you very much, but it can impact your travel decisions when you're trying to redeem your American Express points for Emirates or Emirates partners travel. So that's important to note. Now, of course, this does come fresh on the heels of, well, another American Express devaluation as we mourn the loss of Alaska Airlines and Hawaii Airlines as, well, transfer partners of American Express. So for those of you that don't know, Alaska recently acquired Hawaiian Airlines, and Hawaiian Airlines, before that acquisition, had a partnership agreement with American Express, which meant that you could transfer your American Express miles or membership reward points to Hawaiian Airlines. Now, because Alaska and Hawaiian are going to be the same company, they actually kind of joined it. So there was a brief period of a couple months where you could transfer American Express points to Hawaiian and then transfer those Hawaiian points to Alaska, which was a huge, huge win. Now, that has also gone away as of, well, a couple days before July started. So that is also kind of a big deal. Now, another thing that's kind of a devaluation, but kind of not, is the fact that Virgin Atlantic recently increased their taxes and fees that they charge for reward flights, which means that, for Virgin Atlantic and for British Airways, you can expect to pay substantial taxes and fees if you're traveling into, say, Heathrow or Manchester or something like that. Those fees with Virgin Atlantic recently increased. So while on paper, their points rewards, if you find a saver fare, can be kind of similar. The fact that their fees are going to be higher means that cent per point value is going to go down because you're getting less value out of them. And so that's also an important devaluation to talk about as well. Now, here's the thing. I need to be fair. This Virgin fee thing doesn't just impact Amex. Virgin Atlantic and Virgin Red, between those two things, are a partner of nearly every single major bank with transferable currencies. And so this kind of impacts everybody, well, if you want to travel to the United Kingdom, at least, right? And so that's kind of a big deal, right? And so if you're planning on traveling to Europe in any meaningful capacity in the future, there are some things that have changed recently that, well, can kind of hurt that impact. You just have to be a little bit smarter about it, and we can get into that in another video. So with all that bad news, you might be asking yourself, fairly, is there any good news? And well, the answer is yes, kind of. So American Express now has a new transfer bonus for their points, but this time it's to Marriott. And so this is a 20% transfer bonus to Marriott points, but you probably shouldn't use this because it really doesn't increase the value of those points. Remember, Marriott points usually get between 0.4 to 0.6 cents per point, and you can kind of work to get 1 cent per point, but you have to really kind of cherry pick your locations and cherry pick your dates in order to get that. So Marriott direct transfer partner from American Express, not my idea of a good deal. It could be, if in particular if you're trying to, say, top off a free night award from maybe a Marriott card sign-up bonus. That could be an option, but this one's not really an option, well, for me. In addition to that, there is still that ongoing 30% transfer bonus for Avios programs. That includes British Airways, Aer Lingus, and a few others. And so that's carried over from last month. So that's a decent bonus if you have any flights planned with any of the Avios carriers. Now, it's important to note that Avios allows you to book any One World Alliance members, so you can actually book American Airlines flights through Avios. So that could be a good deal if you see an award redemption that you'd like to make. So that's important to note as well. Now, there's also an interesting offer that some people are seeing. I haven't seen it in my account yet, but some people are seeing for Air France, there's an offer for 20,000 American Express points after spending $1,000 with Air France. So if you use your Platinum for that purchase, you get 5 points per dollar on that purchase, meaning you get 25,000 points in total, 5,000 for the purchase, 20,000 for the bonus, or the offer rather, for that total purchase. So if you're anyone who is expecting or planning on flying overseas in the next year, this is going to be a really easy way to pick up 25,000 American Express points. So that's honestly some really great news. Now, I do want to also get into some business platinum news. So the American Express Business Platinum card recently announced a few changes to the Dell program and the Adobe program. And well, those credits have taken effect as of July 1st. And so let's take a look at the Dell benefit now. So it was, well, we're not going to talk about what it was. What it is now is the benefit is now $150 back on, first of all, any Dell purchase. So you make any purchase of $150 or larger, you get $150 back. However, if you would also spend $5,000 in a calendar year on the Business Platinum card, you get $1,000 back as a statement credit. So this can help businesses that do large IT purchases, but it's not going to help many other people. Now, let's take a look at the Adobe credit. Now, before, the Adobe credit kind of required you to do a business subscription purchase, which were substantially more expensive than their personal versions. Now, you get, on this one now, you get $250 back when you spend $600 or more on any Adobe product within a year's time on the Business Platinum card. So that's pretty interesting. So if you are someone that, I think it's like $650 for an annual license for Adobe Creative Cloud. So if you spend that, then you can get $250 off of it. So that in itself might be worth carrying the Business Platinum. Now, it is important to note that both offers need to be enrolled in order to be able to use. But I was actually able to carry over my enrollment from the previous iterations of the credit. So I didn't actually have to hit enroll. It just said that I was enrolled on the back end. So just make sure you're all set there and you should be good to go. Now, additionally, I do want to make some other news because, well, there's a lot of credits that are resetting on July 1st. So if you have the gold card, the Resi credit has reset for the next 6 months. And then the dining credits, the Uber credits, and the Dunkin' credits also reset for this month as well. Now, if you have an Aspire or a Hilton card, be watching out for those resort credits. That's $200 every 6 months, and that has officially reset as of July 1st. Now, you also have airline credits, which are every quarter. That's $50 every quarter, and so that is also reset for the quarter. And then, of course, if you have any Hilton cards that have quarterly Hilton credits, make sure you have a plan to use that as well. The American Express Hilton Business has $60, and the Surpass has $50. Now, if you have a Business Platinum, that also has a quarterly Hilton credit of $50 every quarter, and that's also reset today, or July 1st as well. Now, if you have the Platinum, there's all sorts of credits there, and well, the Saks credit is refreshed as well, so that's re-updated, and then there's also Uber, entertainment credits, things like that. And of course, also we need to talk about the Delta Platinum, the Delta Business Platinum, the Delta Reserve, and the Delta Business Reserve. Their monthly rideshare and monthly Resi credits have also reset, so that's important to note as well. All right, folks. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you, watching and learning about the news along with me. And I can't wait to see you again. Until next time.